a pat pan she hair and gone. Them a the first one out on the dam. Basket pan she head, bucket in each hand. Hold up pan she frack, I wanna she grandson. To the market, them a go. For the morning, the day is dawning. For cockcrow to give the villagers a warning. Rise and shine, the birds them a sing. All animal take turn as them join in the waking. Cockcrow, dagaba, donkey, bray, horse, and they even duckakwa. Cockcrow, dagaba, donkey, bray, horse, and they even duckakwa. Come and hear this sweet story that tell the people about life in the country. All day a back down, me now a come home. Inaga, jackass yard for fetchy load. Hawkley shy hand, bag over shoulder, running by his side. A Rexy and Rover, from the farm, them a come. Sun a go down but up the river. Some washing clothes, some folks are bathing at the water. Fisherman, they catch them a bring. From a canoe boat, man, them start offloading. Aymara, Kwakwari, Hail Baka Kuma Kuma, even Lokonani. Aymara, Kwakwari, Hail Baka Kuma Kuma, even Bangameri. Listen to this sweet story that tell the people about life in the country. Them children glad when the weekend come. Out in the yard, them all gather round. Some a play catcher, some making house from straw. Two who come later, a grandma or grandpa. All a sit down just a wait. Moonlight so bright, it's just the right time to listen story or to say a little nursery rhyme. Grandpa voice a echo in the night as he tell some picnic a there with fright. Oh Ligan, Mungeza, Massa Kurma Bura Nancy even Watamuma. Oh Ligan, Mungeza, Massa Kurma Bura Nancy even Watamuma. Yeah man, that's the true story that tell the people about life in the country, life in the country.
If you are looking to have your statutory declaration, affidavit of income, identity, damage or lost passport, lost license, tenancy agreement, agreement of settlement, power of attorney, last will and testament, and certification of documents, then you need to visit the Alistair Collins firm, located at the Kellyan Mall, 162 Lamaha Street in Georgetown, between Camp and Waterloo Street. Alistair Collins is a commissioner of oaths and a justice of the peace. Make certain you visit him or call for more information at 649-6410 or 685-6448 or 503-1451. And there's adequate parking available. Go down to the Alistair Collins firm and have all of your legal issues settled and brought to the fore. Alistair Collins Firm. Contact them at Alistair Collins Firm.
Hello, this is attorney Shellen Washington, owner and founder of the Washington Law Firm, located at 455 Utica Avenue in Brooklyn, New York. We're specialized in medical malpractice, personal injuries, matrimonial law, and landlord and tenant. If you're in need of legal representation, please give us a call today. The number to call is 718-877-3100. Consultation is free at no cost to you. So call us today to see if we can be of any assistance to your legal needs. Again, the phone number to call us is 718-877-3100.
All right. Hey, guess what? Good evening, and gotta get that off. Welcome to Straight Up on 107.1 FM. In case you haven't recognized, yes, I am Mark Benchop, and I will be with you for about an hour. Later on, I'll be joined by Member of Parliament Ram Sarup, right? Ricky Ramsrup. He'll be on with us. I want to talk about two things with him: the fisherman, the missing fisherman, and that controversy. I want to talk about that. And my prayers are with the family members of those missing fishermen. I notice our operator Lemon seemed to be busy these days. I must compliment him. He's a hard worker. He no longer begs for increase and these sort of things. He does his thing. Good evening to Lemon, and thank you so much for doing your job. Ramrati Jackdale. What should we do with Ramrati Jackdale this evening? We shouldn't do anything bad with Ramrati Jackdale. She's a real person. She's a good person. I have known her for so many years. She's a fighter. And I just want to take the time out to recognize my friend, Ramrati Jackdale. Ramrati Jackdale has gone through a heck of a lot. And I'll say this because I know her personally. I know her kids and everyone personally. And I know what she went through at the hands of the wicked PPP. And so I want to say good evening to Ramrati. Good evening to Ramrati. And thank you so much. She tuned in every single night right here on 107.1 FM. Thank you so much, Ramrati. And, you know, I want to say this because a lot of times people just maybe look at the name or look at an individual and automatically think that they are supporters of these folks in the installed regime. And a lot of people who may look like Ramrati Jackdale are going through a lot of hardships under this PPP regime. Lots of people, lots of Guyanese. Somebody is asking a question: is she Jackdale's wife? Did I say that she's Jackdale's wife? She's not Jackdale's wife. I never knew Jackdale had a wife. All right. So Ramrati, thank you so much for what you do. I salute you, my friend, and welcome to the show. I know you tune in to us every single night, and I respect and appreciate that. Give my regards to your family, your entire family. All right. So what can we, let me say good evening to all of you, every single one of you. Thank you so much for sharing the link. What can we start off with? I hope you guys had a great weekend. But what can we start off with? I haven't seen anything about what GWI, the Guyana Water Incorporated, what those guys are doing with employees. They continue with the racism. They continue with the discrimination at GWI. They're continuing with that. No stopping to these sort of discrimination there at GWI. No stopping to that at all. But before we get back to Guyana, let's head over there. This guy, Putin, former head of the KGB, any moment now, it can be clash. The war can start. We don't know, but could you imagine that the installed regime actually is in support of Russia? I know CARICOM has issued a statement calling for peace and so forth, but the installed regime headed by Irfan Ali, Mohammed Irfan Ali, they're in support of Russia. They are actually supporting what Russia is doing to Ukraine. I hope the media, the folks out there, would ask Irfan Ali exactly and let him say publicly the installed regime's position on what's happening between Ukraine and Russia. What I do know is that Mohammed Irfan Ali, they're supporting Russia on this here. But guess what? Lil Do, this guy, Dharam Lal, also known as Lil Do, is on his way, according to this report, is on his way to the US, which means that Lil Do, and his name is Lil Do as a result of that vulgarity in Parliament with a dildo. So his name, as of now on, is Lil Do. Lil Do has had his visa, his US visa, revoked many years ago. And of course, under questionable circumstances. Questionable circumstances, right? I noticed some of you guys are already asking where we are going to protest him. He's got to be protested. But the protest shouldn't be no wild stuff where, you just jump out and say, oh, there's going to be a protest and all this nonsense. We must not continue with the same stupidity, the same dotishness. Protest must be properly organized. I'm saying properly organized in a sense to go directly at the doorsteps of these individuals. And it must be done collectively against Lil Do and these folks, right? It must be done by a group of people. And not every minute one, you guys know where I'm coming from, right? You guys know it must be done collectively. That is how things ought to be done, especially in the diaspora. Okay? And Lil Do and others, Lil Do, yeah, Lil Do. You guys get where I'm coming from, right? Lil Do, who apparently got back his US visa. Because if this report is that Lil Do, Mark Phillips, whoever this female is, I honestly don't know, but the other guy to the right is Robert Passad. Sorry about that. Robert Passad, right? Robert Passad is also going to be there. They're going in New Jersey for some flag-raising ceremony in New Jersey. Who is organizing that event? And if it is the regular people, if it's the regular people out in New Jersey, y'all don't call me. Y'all don't email me about anything. Because at this moment, it's not time to link up with these people, especially Lil Do, right? Look at what Lil Do has done. And the elections is still questionable. It is hanging over these people's head. They don't want the elections petition to be heard. They're stymieing the process. They're discriminating against many Guyanese, not just against one particular group, but we know the main ethnic group that they're protesting against. And we cannot allow these things to happen. That Lil Do just disrespected the women in Parliament. Forget it about whether they're opposition, just but Lil Do has disrespected the people in Parliament, the women in Parliament. A member of Parliament was suspended for 4 sittings. And nobody's speaking up much about that. We're not hearing anything from the private sector because they don't give a damn. They're studying about money. They're studying about milking. They're studying about deals, whatever deals they can get. If they can go and hug up and kiss up and chat up Jack David, Irfan, and these guys in the install regime, they will do that. So they're not concerned about Lil Do talking about dildo in Parliament and insulting and disrespecting, even if, according to Lil Do, Dharamlal, even if that dildo comment was directed to someone else, he's now claiming that it was directed to Sherrod Duncan. Even if he was talking about Sherrod Duncan, about dildo, in the presence of all those female members of Parliament, including those on his side, well, obviously he doesn't give a damn about those on his side. You see where I'm coming from with this? But yet that organizer, I want to find out about the organizers. Who are the organizers? Who are the organizers? Because I will head straight to New Jersey and I will just take that Guyana flag, take it away from them. Forget it. Because I don't want Lil Do and a bunch of people who are discriminating against Guyanese. No job creation, a bunch of discrimination to go and say that they are raising the flag, the Guyana flag. That doesn't mean anything to Lil Do and them. It's got to stop. It's got to stop. People got to protest them. But the protest can't just be haphazard. And all of you who reside in New Jersey, New York, maybe surrounding areas in Brooklyn and Queens and in Bronx, and a lot of you on social media, y'all talking about action in Guyana. How come they don't go and protest out in Guyana? Well, now is the time to show them in Guyana how it is done in the US. To protest, to jump in your cars, jump on your motorcycles, jump in a dollar van or whatever. Get an Uber. Head down to where this guy, Lil Do, this guy, Mark Phillips, this female, I don't know who she is, honestly. Maybe, probably Minister of Housing, or I just don't know. And Lil Do. And then you have Robert Prasad, who is Jagdev's nephew-in-law, right? Jagdev's nephew-in-law. This is something where all Guyanese should be protesting against. Lil Do, of all person, should not be there. And all y'all on social media who love, right? I see Ian Williams is saying, Mark, they should have sent the Attorney General to New York. Come on, forget about who they should have sent and who they shouldn't have sent. And I don't want to get into that, all right? Ian Williams, with all due respect, my friend, well, I see you on Facebook. I consider you a Facebook friend. Let's not get into who they should have sent and who they shouldn't have sent. They sent Lil Do. Lil Do is coming, right? Lil Do is coming. This protest should be enormous. Thousands of people should go out there and show these people once and for all that it's not going to be business as usual. It is disrespectful. And y'all can't sit down. Y'all can't sit down and just allow these political vagabonds to walk in and sweep in and raise the flag as though everything is okay, everything is honky-dory. No, everything is not honky-dory. It's just not. All right? So here it is. Before the end of the show, I will try to see, I see some of you on your comments. I will try to see what's the address, where this flag raising that these, especially Lil Do, who obviously got his US visa back, right? Because he probably now has a diplomatic passport. And so when he sends in his diplomatic passport for his visa, he got a visa through his diplomatic passport, right? So this stuff is going to be somewhere in New Jersey, right? And we can't just sit and call on. Every minute we sit and call on this and call on that. When we sit and call on this and call on that, it doesn't happen, right? We got to protest these individuals, protest their office. Some of these elected officials over here who depend on Guyanese, right? Who depend on Guyanese for their votes. We can't just sit and say we call on, or we call on this and we call on that. Sit and call on this and call on that is over. Now, it says Mark Phillips, other government officials, install government officials to meet with Guyanese in New York and New Jersey this week. Canada, UK, and Caribbean outreaches in the pipeline. Well, don't know what pipeline they're talking about. The outreach will take place from February 21st, which is from today. They probably arrive, through the 25th. Heading the delegation is Mark Phillips. Accompanying him are Minister of Public Service, Sonia Parag. So that female there, her name is Sonia Parag. And also Minister of Local Government, the installed Minister of Local Government and Regional Development, Nigel Lildo Dharamlal. Right? Nigel Lildo Dharamlal. So let us see here. Target groups include diaspora investors and all these things. They said the delegation will also be attending the Republic Day celebration in New York, planned for February 22nd. That's tomorrow. And a similar ceremony, February 23rd, in New Jersey. In New Jersey. So tomorrow in New York and Wednesday in New Jersey. I don't know what is happening, but these guys, all of you on social media, every single one of you on social media who love to talk, they're not protesting in Guyana. Well, now is your time to protest. The Honorable MP is with us this evening. Good evening, sir, and how are you?
Hi, good evening, Mark, and good evening to all your viewers and listeners.
I can hardly hear you. And I'll tell you what, MP, I had a healthy lunch, and I'm strong, and I know you had a healthy dinner too. So let's start right over again. Good evening to you, MP.
Hi, good evening, Mark, and good evening to our viewers and our listeners on 107.1 FM, and it's nice to be with you again.
Always a pleasure to have you with us, Honorable MP. Always a pleasure. Are you surprised that this group is coming to North America to talk about investments and all these things? What can the local government minister talk about investment and these sort of things? I don't know. What's your take on what's going on?
You mean the square peg and round hole one, or shall I just, look, I haven't really followed where they were going and so on because, well, what I'm getting from it, having the local government minister going there, I think he's still crying. I think he's still crying a baby and begging, you understand me? Because everybody actually condemned him on the statement that he made. And this is not the first time that he's doing it. And I'm seeing that he's writing a set of things on his Facebook profile and a number of free speech and all these things and so on. Look, there's a limit to what you can do and what you must do. Wearing a ministerial cap and sit in an office like that, you have to take a certain level. You have to change your lifestyle and take a certain level. And when you're going to go into the highest house in Parliament, I expect there are a certain level of discussion that should be there. Now, when you look at these guys when they're presenting in Parliament, and anybody who's looking at your program here can go and examine, 75% of their speech is based on AP and UAFC. Forgetting that they sit 23 years in government and putting all the blames for a government that was in 3 years in government, a government that was in 3 years in office. Now, every single speech I have, AP and UAFC, AP and UAFC. If they got 100 words, 75 of the word is AP and UAFC. Nothing else is coming out. All the presentation that they do, if you look at the speeches and the policies that they have, 5 minutes of the time that they use, by the time allocated, the half an hour, they use 5 minutes of that to tell you exactly what they're doing for the country. And, it's kind of poor. It's kind of poor, and it's kind of, I don't know how to put it, but it's not the way you should be doing. You as government, you have a mandate to ensure that you are spending the people money in the right areas. You have to tell the people where you're spending money, how you're spending it, and where they're spending it for. What are they spending it for? Because you're claiming that you have a biggest budget, $552.9 billion. All right. So, Mark, the team that is going there for investment, you already just conclude a conference, an oil and gas conference. we were not invited for that. Well, we bought our tickets and we went in to see what was happening, and talk with the people and so on. And a lot
Okay,
of people,
stick a minute there, MP. You guys were not invited.
mm,
Y'all bought y'all ticket. How much for that ticket?
$5,000.
5,000 for one ticket. How many of you guys went in?
So
That
we
you
had
know of?
so we had 3 days, was three teams. I think that was Wednesday, Thursday. Sorry, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday. So it was 3 days planned for three sets of MPs to go, and each one has about 10 MPs per session. And we went to different times and so on, and we walked about, talking and chatting with the local Guyanese people who were there, seeing the display, see what they were doing, and so on. And it was pretty good. I mean, a lot of them were happy to see us, talking with us.
What did you guys accomplish from that paying y'all money and going in there at an event that you guys were not invited? You guys were not welcome. You guys were shafted. How did you guys? Do you think it worth the money? Worth the time?
Look, as we went ahead and to have a look what was happening and so on, and we found out actually that one of the booth there, I mean, we were talking to Christopher Ram and so on, and the booth was $650,000 for a booth. So there's only a certain level of business could have been there. I do not see, and that's one of the good thing of being there. I do not see the small and medium-sized businesses benefited there. Um, how do you transform, or how do you have, let's go to cash crop farmers. How do you get them to go into that area to say, okay, this is what we're producing, this is what we're doing, this is what we're packaging, this is how we're going to show packaging. You understand? Rather than to go and buy the greens and vegetables from Trinidad, we have it here. So I believe that that's how the connect is supposed to be. You understand? And then there's a certain not a level I heard inside that you have to buy that ticket. I can't remember the price, Mark, but it was very hefty to go into the other bigger boys there.
Oh, so you guys didn't go, y'all. It's just like you go into the movie theater, they get pit, they get house, and they get balcony.
So we were in the pit.
Y'all
Yeah,
were
we
in
were
pit.
pit. Yes. So we were in the pit level here. So I mean, that is
What
what.
did you guys actually accomplish from going? Again, I asked this question. Going to an event that you guys weren't welcome, nobody cared to invite y'all, but y'all pay y'all money to go to a particular function.
Mm.
What was accomplished when you walked? What did you accomplish when you walked out there, spending that money?
Look, I didn't go with an expectation to accomplish anything. You understand me?
So therefore, you just spent
No. Hear
money.
me out. Hear me out.
Sure, sir. Go ahead.
Hear me out. You
Sure.
see, the objective as a politician, as a young politician, my objective, what I wanted to see is, I represented small and medium-sized businesses. I represent poor people. I wanted to see the display that is happening there. How would that connect to our majority of our population, our people in Guyana that's supposed to be benefited from the oil and gas? You understand me? I wanted to see how that connects. So when I go there, and my observation was, even the booth, I'm telling you, was $650,000 for one of the booth. How would those guys afford that thing? You understand? So that was my accomplishment, Mark, to show that the oil and gas conference, no matter what you do, if you don't bring it to the level and the expectation to benefit all Guyanese, it ain't gonna happen. It's only a few. And those persons that were there is another accomplishment. Those that were there, they're not too sure what business they will get involved with. You understand? Because that is a high investment cost business. That's another takeaway from there. High investment. You got to get the banks here to support you, and the banks support you. Their interests are pretty high, 14 to 18%. You understand me? So I don't know how and how they will do this. So I'm not surprised that the group that you put up there going to America now. You just had a business conference here. You're not going there for another conference? Oh, wait, nobody's coming to Guyana? Is that what you're telling me? Nobody's coming to Guyana?
Yeah, fair enough. So you guys were inside of that conference. You paid your money to go in the pit area. Y'all didn't get to go in the big shots area and so forth. So that means y'all didn't get to see any of the visiting dignitaries, right?
That's right.
Good, because they are not going to come in the pit to see what's going on with the small
That's right.
businesses and so forth.
The level.
Yeah, and it's kind of like going in there is kind of like visiting Border Market, Stabroek Market, Port Morant Market, Monrepo Market to see the exact same thing. But you paid your money to go in there. Did you guys stop outside of that area to hear the concerns of those who were protesting?
I personally didn't went uh, early because I know they were in the morning session early. When I was there were no person were protesting, but I was following them what they were doing. Brian Max, Glenn Lal, Sherrod was on the line. We were following exactly what was happening out there, and we heard the call for the renegotiation of the contracts and so on. You know,
I got
those.
you.
Yeah.
I got you. Lots of people would love to see more members of parliament out there because a lot of Guyanese, most Guyanese are concerned about what's happening. And this cuts across all racial lines, cuts across all political lines,
Very
and so forth. And I just wish, though, that I saw more of the MPs outside the picket line as opposed to inside. When you go back into, I want us to touch on some other events, Honorable MP. But when you meet with your other MP, since you guys have money and you guys pull up your money and you go into an event that you guys are not wanted, I want you to bring this up to some of your colleagues and so forth that the next time y'all have money to just dole out, bench up radio. We have Zelle, we have Cash App, that you guys can also make a donation to us because we need it here more than those organizers who get help. Millions of dollars, millions upon millions of taxpayers' money to offset that event where the ordinary people were not welcome and where 31 members of parliament representing a majority, so to speak, of Guyanese, because you guys won the elections.
Yeah,
You guys
definitely.
were not invited to that. So the next time, talk to your comrades them. Talk to their comrades them and let them spend their money wisely on entities and organizations that are supportive of them. That's all I wish to say. Thank you for reading between the lines. Thank you so much, Honorable MP. All right. I see somebody's asking me here, would UMark supply? Would UMark supply transportation? I don't. Anthony Harris, good evening to you. I don't know, what are you talking about supplying transportation for what? If they get a big Beanie Man show, you're going to ask Mark to supply transportation? The whole crowd, the whole ground is going to be crowded. You get cricket match, the whole ground is going to be crowded, right? You get Yellow Man go to Guyana and singing. I know you remember this MP, probably small days. Zungo, zungo, go, zungo, zeng.
Yeah, man. Yes, I was small. I was probably like about 4 or 5 then. Yeah.
Right? The whole bunch of people are going to be there. But you have a protest. And here what Anthony Harris asking me, if I can supply transportation. Oh gosh.
You see, that is yeah, I mean that's that's how they're seeing it. I mean, they're asking they want you doing this, you're silent, you're quiet, and so on. You call for it, you gotta it is your right. I gotta go heist you and fetch you for your right.
I just gotta take a drink of water now.
Yeah. I'm gonna drink some tea too, bye. Look, Mark, yeah,
Go ahead.
I think there were a couple of issues that we wanted to touch on.
Yeah, before I get to that, MP, I'm glad that we got those stuff out of the way. But I'm just going back to Anthony Harris asking me if I can supply transportation. Gosh, Anthony, oh man, don't do that to me. But let's get to this guy here now. Wang Zufeng is in jail tonight based on allegation of trafficking in pounds of cocaine, not to the US, not to Canada, not to UK, but he's accused of sending cocaine to China. Sending cocaine to China. Wang Zufeng. Wang Zufeng, date of birth 1996, the 10th, the 9th. Wang Fing. And guess what? These two taxi drivers were also charged with him too. Allegations. They're taxi drivers. Oh, these poor taxi drivers might be innocent. I don't know if Fing is innocent because, according to information, he was doing the shipping. But these guys were poor taxi drivers, transported Fing, and now they gone in the fling. They gone in jail because of Fing. The allegations level against Fing. I don't know. This is funny. Fing is accused of sending cocaine to China. Pounds upon pounds of cocaine to China. Then another guy is accused of sending cocaine or carrying cocaine to the US in Chinese food. Then we got the guy who is missing, another Chinese national, is Sue. So this whole week is a Chinese week. I don't know. Chinese food, cocaine to China, and Sue. Sue is missing in action. But you want to talk tonight about this sad situation. Let's start off with these fishermen missing and lots of question marks in terms of how this situation is being handled from its inception, where there was a distress call made and the distress call was not properly handled. Allegedly, it was not properly handled. What's going on in this situation, Honorable MP?
Yeah, I learned about this here. When I learned about this here, it's pretty sad. I mean, it's keep going again. Um, with the sea, I mean, when we were in government, we reduces the piracy to zero. Now we're having this is not the only incidents from since the PP took over office. We had a ship that came with some bodies and then disappeared. You remember that one?
Oh yeah.
Yeah, good. So you have these one, then you had the Venezuela one issue. Now you're having these guys. I mean, I really express my sympathy for the family and those who are concerned, because I know how worried they are. But there's one survivor. I learned is one survivor. He got rescued, but the three didn't.
So there were four.
There were four of them. Yeah. So
Okay.
so the three gone, and the one was rescued by the other boats. I don't know who is responsible, but I have to blame the fishing, the agriculture ministry. They should have a protocol. I mean, of course, the maritime them will have the protocols, but the safety of these fishermen that is on board, they're supposed to be having life jacket on. They're supposed to have um, these small boats on board. In case of an emergency, you can hop in and stay for a couple of hours, or until you get rescued. So there are several health and safety practices supposed to happen offshore. I don't understand why we're still having this issue and why we're having these problems. People have to understand that they have to equip themselves. I recall when we were dealing with the piracy in the quarantine region, we have offered them to set up GPS trackers and everything on the boat, and they refused. They refuse to have the GPS trackers on their thing. They say, "Oh well, everybody can know what they're doing, where they are, and they're gonna come and thieve them fish," and all the excuse. So these guys need to ensure that they follow all the protocols to ensure that they're safe. We have to ensure that the law and the enforcement is happen so that thing can be avoided. So there's a poor management by the agriculture sector, the agriculture ministry, to ensure that these things are not being enforced. Now there are several weaknesses that's going on in the fishing industry right now. We have learned that the fishing the catch has been declined. Yet we've seen the numbers, they said, rise. We don't know if that magic. They said they're gonna do a study to show that that what is causing this problem. They will just send a report out saying that the fishing declined because of not have nothing to do with oil and gas, but just now probably the fish just want to just move away. So I don't know if you look at the in the budget, they want to do something called cage fishing. Mark, I don't know if these guys just wake up in the morning and say, okay, I want to do this, I want to do that. You have to do research. Research around the world show you that cage fishing is not worth it. It is expensive and it's not going to be lucrative. That's there go again. Couple of $1 billion going to go down the drain.
Back to this fishing. Of course, it doesn't worth it, and we got that. Uh, you did mention that. You brought that to the listeners' attention the last time you were on. Good points made. Back to this fishing vessel missing. I noticed that the coming out of the Ministry of what is it? Infrastructure, EGIL,
Hmm.
has actually boldly said that they have launched an investigation instead of the Ministry of Home Affairs to say that in collaboration with the Ministry of Agriculture. How lopsided is this whole thing, man? And what is the latest concerning this investigation?
Well, I haven't got the follow up to know what's happening in the investigation, but that is how you're going to be an investigation and go on. That is how to do it. Um, the public infrastructure deals with what you call the maritime, the NORAD department. It's fall under that thing. Who's responsible for all the shipping, the ships and
Yeah.
so on, boats and so on, that's coming in and out and so on. Of course, it's supposed to have what we call a task force or uh, a board that coordinating within the shipping, the agriculture, and the public security. So the three ministries sits together. So when incident like this happen, there's a greater collaboration. We used to do it. We used to do it. We used to call when we had those piracy that we were trying, we were that we take down to zero. We used to call. We used to get the meetings within the different ministries to ensure that everything is in place, and you come up with different policies and plan. When you have a roundtable meeting, you bring all the ministry together and you deal with the issue. But I don't know how they do it now. The one ministry will say one thing, another one will come and say another one, and they're working haphazardly.
So, have you gotten any information as to what the one survivor has to say?
I think so far the information is keeping a bit low. I saw the seafood, the guys who they work for, has not yet released a statement. As your rifle said, there is some distress call. It was not handled properly. Those will have to be under investigation. Um, so I haven't got no latest information as to more information on this because it's keeping it a low right now because I don't know. I guess when you don't have a proper procedure in place, you're gonna want to find loophole to blame it for something else.
And that's what probably is on its way. There's a Melissa Sue, spelled differently than the Sue that we are familiar with now. This is SUE. She's saying, look, piracy raised its ugly head again. Piracy was rampant under the PPP regime for 23 years. They couldn't handle it. They didn't give a damn. Fishermen punished under the PPPC regime for 20 odd years. Is this person correct in saying that it has raised its head once again?
No, absolutely. We have seen that the amount of incident that has happened within the sea um, for the past 18 months, 19 months, since the PP took over office, you can see that it's out of control and it's just the beginning. In another year, it's probably going to get worse because there are more activities within the sea area, the region, because you're going to the oil and gas that is there. A lot of ship being go out there. You don't know who is coming with what, who is doing what, who is taking what. So if you don't have that NARAD, that organization that's responsible there to coordinate these things to ensure that proper protocols are being followed, then you're going to have these incidents. And it comes back to what I call is poor management, poor governance. This is always going to happen. I don't know where or what or how these people are thinking, but these things got to be. You just can't pick up the phone every day and you want to call. You have to sit down and set the procedure, and the policies in place. You have to get the SOPs and the standard opposition procedure in place. So if an emergency happens, you know exactly to do one, two, three, four, what. You got to get training for these fishermen for to ensure that those protocols have been followed. Not just a fisherman come here and say, hey, you can catch fish by, you put them in the boat and you got it. You probably even know for swim. You understand? So these are checks that you got to put. And if the person can't swim, you got to get life jackets and lifeguard, those things on board. You got to get those small blow up boats, emergency. You just pull a thing and it just automatically inflates itself. You know those things, Mark. Easy and they're very cheap. And every boat should carry one or two. So if any emergency, you got your stuff there, you do your thing. The boat can't just automatically flip over all of a sudden. There was an emergency. The emergency call was made. Yeah, the distress call was made, so you had enough time to put your emergency in place. You understand?
And the fact that one, according, because I haven't seen that report that there's one survivor.
Yeah, one
not
survivor.
doubting what you have said, but I appreciate you filling us in with that. That one survivor, I'm sure, because I know the owner of that fishing company. They seem to be responsible. I don't know what has happened. If a distress call was indeed made, then there should be an investigation why that wasn't transmitted to the relevant agency to deal with that. That's a big question mark. If there's a survivor, as you have indicated, then that survivor may have had an opportunity to put on his life jacket as well. I don't know what has happened to the other three, but I do hope that there's a miracle in this. I do hope. But as you would know, in terms of in a situation like this, it is approaching 3 days now. The investigation should intensify in terms of the crew out there looking for these guys, because if they have drowned, if they died, then by tonight or by early tomorrow morning, we should get the news that their bodies have surfaced, right? If they have survived, then it's going to be a miracle. But I'll just predict that sometime between tonight and tomorrow morning, we should get some news one way or the other on these gentlemen. But I hope it's something positive. But the hope of something positive is far less than the outcome. Your take on what's happening?
Yeah. So the I when they called, they said that based on the report, they called for help, and the other one of the boat, some of the boat didn't respond immediately to the call for help, but I think one went, and then how that one survived, but the rest of three of them, they couldn't find them. So I guess they'll continue to do the search and rescue. I don't know. They're probably the Coast Guard. Those are the person who's going to go out and do the thing. But I think, as I said, these boats need to be equipped properly and to ensure that the proper safety is on and is adhered to. And you have to ensure that one of your crew member that is there, you have to ensure that one of them are being trained properly to respond to distress call or to any emergency that is there. And these are the things that we are not doing. You have to ensure that if there's an emergency, what the first protocol, what are they going to do, what the first step to do. Right? All right, you make the distress call as one. Second thing, you go and you get your everybody to be, secure themselves, put on the life jackets, and ensure you get the thing boats if they both do have that. As I said, I don't, we got to ensure that there are policies in place to ensure that these things happen.
Well, we're learning, according to Sherwin Green, that he heard that they arrested the one survivor. Well, I don't know why the one survivor was arrested. Under the circumstances, yes, he may have to be detained to answer a few
Right. So I don't think he was arrested. I think it was just he has to, because remember, three persons missing. You're the only survivor, so there will have to be a police report.
Yeah, so how you managed to survive, what exactly happened, and so forth, and to ensure that his version sounds, credible enough. And I guess that's exactly why he was actually detained, to find out how is it that he survived. let us get some information. What happened to these three guys, so forth and so on. And so he may not be under arrest, but he was just detained to be questioned.
Yeah.
Let's move away from that for a few minutes and let's get to this here, Honorable MP. Sorry about that. We don't need to get to that. We need to get to the fact that the Enmore estate is going to be shut down to facilitate, to knock all those sugar workers out, or those folks who have been given lands and so forth and so on, to facilitate some sort of business by cronies and friends of the PPP regime. How do sugar workers feel in the Enmore area about this, sir?
You know, well, I can recall back in I want to go back in 2020, the first after the PP took office, they went back in the parliament and they did the first debate. The agriculture minister, shouted across the floor that the PPP will open back the sugar estate. I don't know if you recall that. It's on video, it's on tape, on record. They'll open back at any cost it'll take to reopen back those sugar estates. When we were in government, we have done some research. With the GAU, of course, was one of the team that had the research to be done too. And the research showed that the sugar indeed was not profitable. But if we right size the sugar industry, meaning that we had to the Wales estate, which was already unclosed, urgently closed. We had the Skellen, which is not, the $200 million spent and still a white elephant there. You had the Rosa estate, which was not was dilapidated. It was hard to come back. So the research showed that we should focus on the three estates. One was in Iflot, Blairmont, and Albion. Those are the three estates. The factory, the rest of the estate, the plantation, the sugar cane, would have come from those other areas and consolidated within those factories. And that is how you bring the level of the sugar to a very profitable ways, because these estates was only running half of the potential. So the supply of sugar cane was not enough. But the PPP went and put the narrative that the AP and AFC closed down the sugar estate and fired 17,000 workers or 15,000 workers. They call all kind of numbers: 6,000, 5,000, 15,000, 17,000. They call all these numbers of workers that we fired. We ensure that the severance were paid to all these workers. And you can ask anyone who can come forward. All of them was well paid, that was not employed. The PPP come with the big thing now back into government, and they said, look, we're going to reopen back the estate. To date, none, 18 months and none. We have put over $22 billion in the estate already. None has reopened. We asked for the timeline again. There is no specific timeline. The Vice President made a statement that there's no definite way the sugar estate will be open. But we know. But when we do it now, is the AP and UAFC get close to the sugar estate. But no, the PP is angels now. That is, they can do what they want to do. I've learned that I know that the Enmore Sugar Estate would have never reopened, because I've seen the reports and statements that they're going to set up a factory there, not knowing that they will be selling out the packaging plant, which they built, of course, and we have modernized it by pumping over $12 million into that facility. $12 million into that facility to make it modernized. We have seen report that the wharf, the sugar terminal and the wharf, they were putting towards the storage for rice. So we knew exactly that they have no intention, Mark, to reopen back those sugar estates, but they'll keep pumping the billions of taxpayer dollars into that sugar estate. We have seen a report where the CEO of Gaisuku said that he will not make Gaisuku a burden on government back. This Gaisuku is not a government, is not a burden government back. Gaisuku is a burden on the taxpayers. It's a total different thing. So you are spending your money there, and you are saying that you're gonna make it profitable. Now, if you're gonna, based on the policy that they have in the budget, they say they're gonna expand in things like value added into the sugar, meaning they're gonna do like ethanol. They're gonna do let's call it hybrid molasses, some hybrid molasses. I know what you mean. They're gonna put more sugar into it or what, but they're gonna make a hybrid molasses. Now, if you're doing that, why are you closing the terminal? Why are you selling out the packaging plant? What is your intention? But yet, the people within this area here, and more, and the others and so on, not seeing these things. They want to train these people now to go make iron, to do fabrication, welding, and what have you. So it's, and like Anthony just said that. Anthony make a good point there. It is money for the boys because $22.2 billion already spent in Gaisuku in 18 months. 18 months, Mark. And non-sugar estate can be resurrected by now. They said the
Let me ask you this, Mr. MP. The Enmore area, the people in that area, aren't they feeling deceived by the PPP who made all these promises? What are they saying on the ground? Express some of the sentiments, please.
Mark, I spoke to some of them, and they are disgusted. They know that they were a fool. They know that the intention there, what they're doing. They know some of them know they can't go into work in that factory. You understand? They only know Abe Ayo, and they only know Kenan and the File and Cutlass. You understand? Some of them are very ageable. You understand? So maybe the younger ones there will be beneficiary, but they have to do a lot of training. But they're very upset, especially the elders one. Those with the average age of 45 to 55. You understand me? Those are the ones who are gonna feel the squeeze of it, and they're very disgusting. But they're not gonna come. You ask them to come. Let's do a video. Let us do a talk. No, they don't want to do it.
They don't want to go on video. But have you guys, the opposition, visited the area as a team to talk to people, even though they don't want to go on video and so forth, to let them see the presence of the opposition and that the opposition care and the opposition was right about this sugar industry and the PPP was basically deceiving, lying to sugar workers and their families? Have you guys done that?
So, Mark, we have not. I went and talked to someone, but we have not went as a team to do like a village walk and thing and so on. But I went there because, as a geographic representation, and I'm not living far from there. So I take it on as well, me, myself, personally, to go and visit. And, because remember, I have a lot of family there too. I mean, I work at that sugar estate. That's where I start my career after high school, in that sugar estate, 1995, 96. And I said that, the estate going to close. It's not going to be surviving. At a young age, I made that decision. I made a statement. And today I still see that it's closed. Actually, it's already closed. Look, the people they're upset, they're disgruntled. You understand, but Mark, you know what they're doing. They are paying the cash grant, the $250,000 one that was paid. They are going to continue to do that. I don't know how long that will last for, but I want them to understand that it's not going to last forever. Because you have known that the cost of living has tripled. So no matter how much money you receive here now, it's going to be like nothing. You have to get consistent income for survival. And that is what you are there. So giving gifts and all these handouts, we call it handouts government, it's not going to work.
So you suspect that, of course, it's not going to work. The handouts never work. It's just a short-term fix, right? But from a political standpoint, the people need representation. You think you guys within the opposition will sometime go as a team or invite the leadership of those communities, the sugar workers, to come in or to go and talk to them, to let them know that the opposition actually cares and that the PPP are the ones who are deceiving sugar workers? Are you guys going to go and do that? I know you've done your part as a geographical MP.
Well, definitely, we are going to go. We have to go, because what the plan is, Mark, and I will tell you the plan is, briefly, and on a general note. I won't tell you in details. The plan is we are going to be monitor closely all the projects that they got, and all the projects where they're going to be spending the money. And this is one of the most important things that we got to do. Um, so you might, so we got to ensure that whatever they say, they're going to spend this money on what product. Like, for example, I talked about the cage fishing. So I'll be monitoring closely to see when it will start, how much money we will spend, and where it will be setting up, and by whom, which consultant, and which group. You understand? So those are the area that we are going to be focusing on to ensure that those projects carry out. Because they're going to come back again in 2023 and saying, oh, we didn't have enough money and this and so. So we're looking out, we're watching. So every single programs we'll be monitoring and managing. So indeed, Mark, we're gonna have the crew. I guess you saw Albert Norton. You went to the Backlist, Golden Grove. Then you can go down the line, Hasseltown, and more, and so
Yeah,
on.
that was about 2 weeks ago,
Yeah.
before this whole thing happened. A crew
Right.
should have already been on the ground with the people in the Enmore area and so forth. Those people who were affected by this.
Yeah. So indeed, we are going to have a team to go down, a full team to go down and to talk with the people and so on. They are a bit a little reluctant to talk because they don't want to come down. They always feel victimized, and they'll be victimized and so on. I mean, that is what happened in prior 2015 when they took a stand from him. I mean, he gave out house lot, bang, and more. If Ali was then, he was the Minister of Housing, and they literally run him out and saying because they were giving people far all over West Coast to come and do housing here, and moving the people from here to Farfield, Harmony, and so on. So the people stand up against them, and now that they're doing this again, I'm hoping that they stand up. I mean, I've know that I've talked to some of them. They're very disgusted about it. They don't. They say they're going to be voting again. I mean, honest with you, I'll be very honest with you. But I said, by when I see a cop, I got stupid. You understand? So I said it's
Why didn't you encourage some of them to organize and go in front of the office of the president and protest?
well,
A lot of them were protesting in front of the office of the president when David Granger and the coalition, they were in office. But now is the time. Look at what is happening to them, and they must sit down and they must accept all this sort of aggression, political aggression, economic aggression against them, and them not do nothing by. Let
that
them
is
go
the
out and protest in front of
that is the worry. Well, that is what I'm telling them. I said, you guys got to come out. But when you ask them to come, oh, you're gonna be victimized. The one neighbor watching, this simple thing. Oh, by the time they go object, oh, they're APNU, AFC. The time they object. So, it's difficult when you're into that predominant area. But I told them, and I tell them many programs, I'm saying that the power lies in your hands. As voters, you have to show them that you got to demand better. You understand? Now, how much employees will be employed from Enmore into that factory? They said 200. If they got 50, they'll got plenty.
How far is Enmore? I think from Enmore to Georgetown is about what? 50 minutes drive.
Yeah, about 15 to 20 minutes drive.
Yeah, which means that it will take you about an hour to walk.
If you drive with a Lamborghini, it might take 10 minutes.
Yeah. I just imagine you with a placard in the village of Enmore and say to the people in Enmore, look, I am your representative, your geographical representative. We are concerned about your plight, your problems, and what the PPP regime is doing to you guys will affect the entire community, your families in years to come. I have a placard here, and I'm here to stand up and represent your interests. I'm walking to Tom right now in front of Irfan Ali's office to let him know that enough is enough. Who wants to follow me, follow me. I can just imagine you doing something like that. Walk into town with a peaceful armband to go in front of Ali's office and say, "Are you come? Who wants to go walk with me? Walk with me." You wouldn't do that, would you?
Look, doing it is not the issue. Doing it is not the issue. The issue is, Mark, is that you have to understand the Indian mentality. You understand? You have to understand the Indian mentality. They're gonna sit down on a back hard in the yard. You know, when dog, they said dog going back, there's back hard in the yard when they go on the road, they take the tail and pull them between their foot. That's how we operate sometimes. They're gonna quarrel with each other, we're gonna fret, we're gonna quarrel, we're gonna this and that, we're gonna quarrel with family and everything and so on, cause down. But when it comes time to action and go outside there, it's only a few of us who stand up, like myself. A few of us will go out and stand up. You understand what I'm saying here? This is
I got what you're saying. I want to take a quick break. I got what you're saying, MP. I'll take a quick break. We'll be right back to show you action. To show you action. Then why is them frightened about? Them frightened police, them a shake up vehicle, them threaten minister to kill minister, threaten the driver to kill the driver. But yet, this PPP regime is doing something to negatively impact their family. Their families, for not probably this generation, but for the next generation. And then I come out and then I do nothing, buddy? Nothing at all, Honorable MP? I don't know. If you're watching right now as we prepare to close up, what will be your message to them, sir?
Look, as I said, I recalled that when those guys came out in Barbies, Kanchi, the taxi drivers, we had the kid cutters, them came out in Albion. We had several others in Wales and East Bank also came out to express their frustration. They have to come out. If you're seeing that things are not happening in the way that you wanted, you have to come out. Our doors are always open. You can talk. I mean, I know you don't have to come out in the tree. You can come and bring your concern. We have several, and look, let me tell you this, those for relief cash grant that was not distributed equally. Person who didn't lost anything or will never do any farming receive those money. Many of you came and do videos to say that you're not happy about it, and we are very proud of that, because that is showing you the power that you have in your hands. So you have to be doing that all the time. You got to come out. You just got to ensure. You got to ensure that you tell the government that, you know what, I is the one who put you there. We are in charge. You have to ensure that you're there. Tell them that. They got to understand that, and they got to get scared. They're gonna get scared. But when they come, and by the time they get a little pressure, they come and they put, we're gonna give you a 50,000 cash grant to that, and y'all settle down. Y'all settle down. No, that is crumbs and chicken feed. It doesn't work like that. You have to ensure that they got proper policy in place to ensure that there's a consistency in your economic livelihood. So, Mark, I am appealing to those who, and I'm measuring something, Mark. I don't know if you pick it up. So they are going to set up, and I started to do some research on it. I have not finished yet, but I'll give you a little bit briefing of what I pick up. Maybe our next program I can able to get more information when I finish the research. The factory is setting up in Enmore, correct? Predominantly PVP area support base. There's one setting up in Lusiknan. You know about that one? Predominantly PVP support areas. So I'm starting to do the checking now to see where they're setting these projects them up. The gas to shore project is going to Wales, correct? Predominantly PPP areas. I want you guys to understand there's no one Guyana. No, there's a myth. That's just a word. That's just something they just come up with something about one Guyana because they were under pressure. You understand? They're under pressure by the United States and by the human rights. They're under pressure because the people them are talking about the racial discrimination that they're doing in Guyana. So they come up with one Guyana. I think they put the one Guyana also on paying the money, the new $2,000 bill. So the trend, I am really following the trend that is happening. You cannot put the development only to your strong area. You're not showing the distribution of your resources equally. It is not the right thing to do, and it's not the best way to do it. You are going to continue to do your division and divide the people of this country. The one that we spent the last 5 years when we set up the social cohesion to build the real one Guyana. Now you're one Guyana on paper, just only on paper, but you're showing your action is speaking louder than the words that you've written there. You have to ensure that the policy that you're setting is within the framework of our national motto: one people, one nation, one destiny. That is the reason why the motto is there. Now you call it one Guyana. You already take out the green from the flag. You now want to take out the motto, one Guyana. You want to call it now. Destruction to what we believe in. So, Mark, I just want to, I always want to leave that there and to ensure our people understand the kind of development that is happening in our country, the way the PPP is governing this country. They are on one side, and it's not right. It's just not right.
It's just not right indeed. Honorable MP, thank you so much for your time. And thank you for your visit there in the Enmore area to stand up and represent those cane harvesters, cane cutters, whatever you want to call them. The people have been deceived by the PPP hustlers. They don't care about the sugar workers. They don't give a damn about the workers, the family members of the workers, or the community. They've been brainwashing the folks. One of the things, though, that you've mentioned is the fact that these job creations in Whale, by Whale Estate area, where those folks who have been given lands by the coalition regime, coalition folks, the PPP has taken away the lands from the people who have started to cultivate their stuff. Then you have a business in Enmore. You deprive the sugar workers of opening the estate at Enmore, but you're putting some sort of job there for them. And Lusignan, the same thing. But they're not going to go into Buxton. They're not going to go into Haslington. They're not going to go at in Agricola or in Linden and these sort of things and do these things. But I get your point, though, Honorable MP. I get your point. And here is where people need more action from the opposition. And now I want to say some opposition members might be saying, what more y'all want us to do? People want a heck of a lot more done. But you alone can't do it. Some of your other colleagues alone can't do it. But they're expecting action from the 31 members of parliament, including the leadership of the main opposition party, leadership of the WPA, leadership of the AFC, and leadership, even if it's a one-man party, still there, like Mr. Keith Scott and others. But they're looking for that leadership. Nevertheless, I take my hats off for those of you who are working. Thank you so much for your time, Honorable MP. Continue to stay safe, you and your family, and keep up the good work.
And thank you very much, and to all of viewers, good night and stay safe. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Thank you. Well, I must say thank you to that MP. He's always willing and ready. If I call him half hour before the show, he's ready for the show. There are some others who like a week in advance to be told, days in advance to be told. But this MP would come on even minutes, and I respect politicians like that. Always ready. always get a shirt and tie in his pocket or underneath his desk, a shirt. That is politics. It happens all over the world. You don't have to be notified a day or 2 days. Why you didn't tell me since yesterday? Why you didn't tell me like since early this morning? Of course you got to be prepared, yes. But there are times when put on a shirt and a tie, put on a blouse, right there, Sri Simons? Put on something and come on and talk about representing your people. The PPP, when they were in the opposition, you think they care about giving them a day advance, a week notice, and them nonsense? That no, they put on the rice bag shirt, the PPP representatives, and they come and they talk. That's how they behaved when they were in the opposition. Some of y'all opposition MPs, y'all too clean in a sense that y'all got to rub cream on y'all hand and y'all face and all manner of things before you come to talk and represent your people. I don't know, man. I still like them, even though some of them think that I'm rough on them. No, I still like them. I want to help them for free. Oh, yeah. We all want to help them. We're giving them free advice. But yet they rush and they pay $5,000, $10,000 to go in a place where they are not wanted. They were not invited. Nobody now want them there. You know what all of them could have done with that money? Gosh, they could have donated something. At least give us something. We battle. We fight for them every single day. We fight for them right here. But no, they took their $5,000 and give it to people who don't want nothing to do with them, who don't like them, who wouldn't do anything for them, and there was no benefit from that at all. But we don't fight up and tell people we got a Zelle or we got Cash App. We don't do that. It is there for all to see. But these MPs don't care about those of us who fight for them. They rather spend their money on people who don't like them and who probably was laughing at them. Look at them. They in pit. They can't go in the big people section to see the visiting dignitaries and to shake their hands and to tell Maya Marty what the heck is happening in Guyana and to tell the president of Ghana or the president of Suriname what is happening in Guyana. To sit and talk with them. And neither those visiting dignitaries didn't even thought it was fit to have a meeting with the opposition, to find out on what's happening on the other side, to have lunch with the opposition. None of that. Shame on those visiting dignitaries, man. Shame on Maya Motley. But Maya Motley, as they say in Guyana, Maya Motley, your name calling, Maya Motley, it is still calling, right? I noticed earlier in the comment section, look, these folks ain't got no shame. They're still talking about SOPs and they're asking for coalition, the APNU people. Where your SOPs there? Why you ain't showing your SOPs? Well, look, let me say this to you. The SOPs are all in the hands of the PPP. Why do you suppose the PPP no one show the SOPs? The PPP doesn't want the elections petitions to be heard. They're fighting every single minute. Who you think keep filing appeal upon appeal upon appeals upon appeals? Right now they're the CCJ. It is the PPP who filed that all the way at the CCJ because, look, lady, earlier, she mentioned, I can't remember what she named, but auntie. Let me break this down for you. Broke it down for you, right? I broke it down for you. Simple. If what is in the SOPs, if it shows that the coalition rigged the elections, the PPP, knowing how the PPP operate, scampish bad, right? They would have been the ones sneaking out the coalition SOPs to show to the world what the PNC or APNU and them did. The fact that, and auntie, I broke it down for you a little bit. Let me break it down for you. Let me break it down for you. Common sense. I'm not saying you do not have common sense, but I just want to break it down for you. Because some people that we think have common sense don't have, even when you break it down, then they understand, they go back in the car now, and they say, That true, you know. That true thing what I say. Bench cap, I been a like I be one bossy head, you see ball head there, about rubby head, put lemon, squeeze lemon on the head, and rub salt on them, right? That's how much I been a like the buy. But what he say here tonight about the SOPs, G1, Kausila, it makes sense, you know. The bench cap, it makes sense. Here how we broke them down, Fabi. Now the SOPs. If there were problems with the SOPs, it's now in the hands of the PPP. Them control things now. Don't you think they would have revealed all of the APNU SOPs that they were talking about? Oh, Auntie, the fact that they do not want to do it simply means that they have nothing to show that will be negative about the SOPs belonging to the APNU AFC. Nothing. But if they show the SOPs of the APNU AFC, it will prove to the world that the PPP rigged the 2020, the March 2020 elections. Right? The March 2020 elections, that the PPP rigged the elections. Let me break this down, Auntie. 47 ballot boxes without documents. You know which area these 47 ballot boxes without documents came from? Lower East Coast, Demerara. Lower East Coast, Demerara, 47 ballot boxes. You know how many votes that amount to? About 12 to 13,000 votes. Almost 2 seats. With my fingers there, Auntie, right here. Right? Almost 2 seats. Oh, Auntie, you want me continue to break it down? Why do you think the PPP now want the petitions to be heard? They don't want the elections petitions to be heard? Because if the elections petitions were to be heard, guess what? You see this here? This a cup, this a teacup, me just drink coffee, and whatever else me put inside. Nothing alcoholic, not high wine and them things there, right? Now, once the petitions are heard and the court say, yes, we're ready to hear the petitions, and they push the hand, the judge and sub push the hand in the evidence bag, guess what will happen? It's going to reveal to you, Auntie, and to the world that the PPP rigged the elections. So they're trying to stop it by all means necessary. Oh, Auntie, I don't want to disrespect you. I wouldn't disrespect you. I know you were brainwashed. Lots like you were brainwashed PPP supporters, and even some who are not PPP supporters actually bought into that kind of brainwashing, that lie that was being peddled by the PPP and their surrogates, that the SOPs were wrong, right? But it was a pastor lady who, right after the elections and after the PPP rigged their way and were installed, this pastor lady, like, she gave up with politics. She had a lot of mouth. She had a lot of things to say. But one of the things that I know that she said it is correct. She said one of the big parties were giving them copies of SOPs that belonged to the big party. And there were discrepancies. There were things on that big party's SOPs that were wrong. The numbers were wrong. And that big party, you know what big party she was talking about? She was talking about the PPP, Auntie. Listen for yourself before me come out. Me not come out yet, Auntie. Listen for yourself and me come back. It's Matrimony Wednesday. It's a big holiday Wednesday in Guyana. So me can talk for about 5 to 10 minutes more. Listen to what this pastor lady who get away right after she said what she said, and she found love and she got married and she disappeared like Cinderella into the woods. We'll be right back.
So it means that we would not have gotten the statements of poll for every polling station. To be honest, the People's Republic Party have only a handful of statements of poll. The people who will have statements of poll for all the polling stations would be the large parties, which would be the coalition and the PPPC, because they would have been able to send scrutineers to all the polling stations. So let me say that verification process that we are hoping GCOM will have to return to complete will be largely between the coalition, that is the SOPs that the coalition has, and the SOPs that the PPPC has. Because the small parties only have a smattering of SOPs. Now, having said that, let me let you know that we small parties were given handouts with collated versions of the SOPs. We were very kindly given, because when we said, well, because we didn't have scrutineers at all the stations, I can tell you that one of the big parties very kindly offered us copies of a handout that had collated the results from the SOPs. Now, let me tell you, in the spirit of transparency, that as the presidential candidate for the PRP, I had a look at those results. It wasn't an in-depth look, because our election agent has that collated copy that we got from one of the big parties in her possession. But I can tell you this much. When I had a look at it, I was surprised, because I saw results on it that did not bear out the results that I had from the smattering of SOPs that we collected at the polling stations where we had scrutineers.
Look, I can put my head on the block that big party that she's talking about happens to be the PPP. I can put my head on the block. And you know what? Y'all could talk all y'all want to talk, but my pastor friend who went away, she got married, she's enjoying married life, right? It's the PPP. And that woman is hurt because she saw evidence of corruption, of a rigged elections, and it all, in my opinion, based on what she's saying, it's on the side of the PPP, who, with their friends, rigged the election. So don't come to me to talk about SOPs. And look, don't come back with them dotishness that, right? Don't come back with them dotishness that. Look what this guy is saying, man. Where these chaps this strange guy come out from now? Dudnat Harilal. Hear what Dudnat Harilal is saying here. You speak to observing how come to Guyana for the election. Shameful. Look, shameful. He's calling people shameful cockroaches, lies. What language is this guy speaking? Where is this guy from? Shame. Shame on Dudnat Harilal. Shame on you, man. What is it that you're speaking, right? Even my friend Chinese man, one of Guyana's biggest singer, can do better than you, right? Shame on you, Dudnat. Makes sense. Yeah, look the difference. That is why, this guy got to probably be where he is catching whatever it is that he's catching. I have more respect for Chinese man, who is one of Guyana's superstars. Listen to Chinese man and believe in Chinese man over this club.
Francisco wine and do shit, salad mucho. And he said, praise the Lord. He said, amen. He said, amen. He said, hallelujah. Praise the Lord. He said, the princess stuff. They got done. The princess went to the church. And then the king came. The king come. They went to the church and they said, pass the patient. They pass the patient. The priest they put on the card. They tell the priest they want the card. Say, you read my phone. And you read my story. They say, they can publish story. And then the story. You know, they say this stuff, brother. Like a sister. You know, they say, church. And then you can empty and pray to Moses.
That is how I feel about this guy. Chinese Boy and Baby Skello making more sense than this. Look at him. Let's repeat what he's saying here. You speak to observing. How come? How come to Guyana for election? Shameful. Cockroaches, lies. Let's not give him the Chinese man treatment. Let's give him this treatment here. Sometimes I don't know where I get the strength to be on this show to deal with some of these trench crappos. Jump out of a trench just like that. One says something, don't even know what to say, don't even make sense. Gosh, man. Y'all continue. Y'all think it's fun. Y'all think it's easy every night to come and sit down here and talk. It's pressure sometimes to read some of the comments. It's pressure sometimes. Right, Crabman?
Pressure, boss pipe. Pressure, boss pipe, baby.
Pressure bus pipe. Where is Sue? Where is Jack Deere? Reuters interviewed them on the sideline at the Energy Expo, and they love that. They want to tell the world that Reuters and another news agency interviewed them about the oil situation. They love that. Oh, but they're not talking about Vice News and the reporter and that journalist, Isabella. They're not talking about her. They don't like her because they don't like what she has to say. But Reuters interviewed them and they talk all sorts of crap and lies about oil and this and that. But they don't want nothing to do with Vice News, right? But I guess Vice News isn't ready for them as yet. Vice News isn't ready for them as yet. Coming up later in this week, Thomas Anderson will be back. I'll have a former New York Times reporter is going to be here, an award-winning reporter, traveled to over 25, 30 countries, and dangerous countries, did his reporting, did a lot of stuff. That person is going to be with me, I believe, on Thursday of this week. Thomas Anderson will be on to talk about money laundering in Guyana, right? Money laundering. But before I go, let me just remind you guys about this cash grant stuff. The executives of the oil companies in Guyana are getting a free ride. Taxpayers are paying for everything. I think it's a bill of $9 billion plus they have submitted for taxpayers to pay for their sort of lifestyle. But some of you and some of them are against cash grant to Guyanese, right? But yet Guyanese are subsidizing their lifestyle. The oil companies, executives, and all of those people and their lifestyle. I rather the people get cash grant than for the taxpayers. The same taxpayers they're denying cash grants to and finding all sorts of excuses not to give them cash grants. These executives of oil companies are enjoying. It's like a welfare for them in Guyana. Everything is paid for. their food, their sleeping arrangement, their travel arrangement. Every single thing is paid for. But cash grant for Guyanese is a problem, right? All right, let me see. They got another one named Javid Hanif. Dotishness. For 23 years, the PPP raped Guyana, right? Look at what Irfan Ali course up people when he was Minister of Housing and all these manner of things, right? Oh man, I not get shame when I come talk, buddy. I not get shame by. Y'all should be ashamed to talk when y'all come on these forums. But I not get shame, right? I not get shame. Y'all not get shame. I gotta go. We'll leave you guys with this, but I gotta go. See you tomorrow, same place, same time, right? Don't forget, tomorrow we have a mid-morning show with Gabby, and also before the mid-morning show, you can take a listen to Kadaki's program, Kadaki Amsterdam, Camps TV. Listen to them, and you listen to some of the callers, some of my favorite regular callers. Whenever I have time, I listen to them. Good night, guys.
Source.
Okay, well,
maybe the Chinese company that did not get the agreement that they wanted here, maybe they're the ones who told you, or it could be just a fictitious thing.
Okay, well, let's talk about specific individuals. What is your relationship with Mr. Su Jerome?
So my relationship? Nothing. He's a tenant. Source.
Okay, well,
Maybe the Chinese company that did not get the agreement that they wanted here, maybe they're the ones who told you, or it could be just a fictitious thing.
Okay, well, let's talk about specific individuals. What is your relationship with Mr. Su Jerome?
So my relationship?
Pressure boss pipe. Pressure boss pipe, boy.
Source.
Okay, well,
Maybe the Chinese company that did not get the agreement that they wanted here, maybe they're the ones who told you, or it could be just a fictitious thing.
Okay, well, let's talk about specific individuals. What is your relationship with Mr. Su Jerome?
So my relationship? Nothing. He's a tenant in my place. Yeah.
And he's a good friend of yours?
Yes. He is a friend of ours. His father was here from many years ago.
I mean, he lives next door to you.
Yes.
You know, he was able to arrange meetings and catch-ups with you at any point in the day. He claims
As a friend, yeah.
He claims that through his very close relationship with you, that he's able to get any deal done.
Well, I don't know
and
if that's.
He's able to change laws for investors.
But then which law has been changed for any investor?
So Sue told us that if you want to get anything done in Guyana, you need some hookups. I'm very close with the Vice President and the other officials. The Vice President and I share a very close relationship. Also, if we do the business, he'll help out no matter what. There's no one else who can help like he does. He also